Greeting and welcome to the Intensive Success Growth. I am your host, Nishant Sharma. Please give warm welcome to our guest, Victor. Victor is a author, speaker, trainer, entrepreneur. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you, Nishant. Great to be here.
Okay, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old, I was hit by a car and I was in traction for 4 weeks in the hospital. My leg was up in traction. And then I was 2 months in a big cast. I couldn't walk. So for 3 months, I couldn't walk. And, obviously it was not fun. I really didn't like it. But as I thought about it more, I was very lucky to be alive because I got hit by a car and I survived. A lot of people die. So I started thinking I was meant to do something better with my life. It took me a while to figure out because here in the United States, the dream was a lot of people, you go to business school, you work for a Wall Street firm, you're set for life, and that's the way it works. And that's what I did for a lot of years. I worked for financial firms probably close to 2 decades. But after a while, I kind of felt I was getting into a rut, and I said, you know what? I'm not happy here. It's very cold-hearted. A lot of people getting let go. It seems like once they don't need you, they get rid of you, and it just wasn't fun. And the other thing I was just thinking of was I have to be doing something better in my life. I didn't feel like I was making a difference in people's lives. I was making some people in my company money, but I didn't feel I was helping contribute to make other people's lives better. And I started thinking about maybe the entrepreneurial path might be the best way to do that. I thought about that for a while. And then about 9 years ago, I got let go from my job. And actually, I felt very free and liberated from it because it kind of freed me to go to the path I thought was where I really belong. And that was the entrepreneurial path. So I took some time off. You've been working for almost 20 years, your brain is really a lot of people don't realize your brain needs a vacation too. And I think that's what I needed first was to give my brain a vacation. Then I started looking on the entrepreneurial path. And I've been doing that ever since. Now I could tell you it's a lot of fun, but I could also tell you, Nishant, it is a big learning curve because when you've been thinking one way for many, many years to do something totally different, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while. So, but it's been a fun journey, but it also took a lot of learning as well.
Yes, right. So, how did you find your first client?
How did I find my first what?
Yes, first client.
When I got started in the entrepreneurial journey.
Yes, yes, like fire.
Yeah, well, the first thing I did was actually I was just going on Facebook and looked up something. Yeah, this looked pretty good, but I really didn't know what I was doing, and obviously I didn't make any money on it. So I tried a company for a while, uh, went nowhere with it because I did not know what I was doing. So I did that probably with the first several things that I tried, and one of the reasons why was because again, I I was trying something new, and this is something very important. If you're going to become an entrepreneur, you really should get a mentor, get yourself a coach. Someone's going to guide you along the way. All of the most successful people have coaches and mentors. Not just you have it in business, you have it in entrepreneurship, you have it in sports. All the great athletes, they have coaches, they have managers, they have trainers. If you look at the top athletes in the world, they're not doing it on their own. They have people guiding them. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you really need to have someone guiding you. And once I got a mentor, things started changing because the mentor would tell me you should do this, you should avoid doing that, because you can figure this out on your own. It's going to take you a really long time, but a mentor is going to cut down the time frame in learning those things. So yes, you have to pay some money for coaching, but trust me, it's worth it because you're going to save yourself 5, 10, 15 years of stress, frustration, and worry. So once I got myself a mentor, then it got a lot easier. Then I started cutting down on the mistakes. And but one thing I would also mention is don't be afraid to make mistakes because you're going to make them. But the important thing is learn from your mistakes. If you can learn from your mistakes, that's fine. The worst thing to do is to not take any chance, not to take any risks. And a lot of people do that, and as a result, they never go anywhere with their life. So don't be afraid to take chances. I think sometimes, like we learn in school or we learn in the corporate world, we're afraid to make mistakes because when we make mistakes, we get yelled at. We're saying this is wrong, so we're afraid to take chances. But to be an entrepreneur, you need to take chances. That's how you succeed. So again, I would say get the mentor. It'll make a big difference in your career.
Okay, great. So, how can anyone find right mentor?
That's a good question. So you got to figure out what are you looking for. But one thing you could do is if you know friends that are entrepreneurs, so if you want to become an entrepreneur, ask them who are good mentors. Maybe ask them about their mentor. They might be someone good, or maybe they've heard of other people that are good. You could do research on people online because you could Google it right now and you could see reviews of people. So if this person has a lot of great testimonies into saying this person changed my life, this person helped me become a much better, more successful person. So this person has a lot of good reviews, a lot of good testimonies. That's probably someone you might want to reach out to. So either look up someone's testimonials or ask people who know, who have mentors or have heard about mentors. So word of mouth is very powerful.
Okay, great. So, who is your living mentor and what's the impact on you?
Oh man, I could tell you right now, I have several mentors. Probably the first one, probably my earliest mentor was a man named Mark Hoverson, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. This guy was a guy who struggled. He went from $30,000 in credit card debt to making over eight figures, and he impacted a lot of people's lives. I learned a lot from this guy, and he taught me definitely a whole lot. And he told me, number one, don't try to do everything by yourself. That's a mistake a lot of people make because you can only do so much by yourself. Get help. Get yourself a virtual assistant. Get yourself an assistant. There's a saying that if you don't have an assistant, you are one. And the most successful people all have teams, helping them become more successful. They focus on the things that they're best at, and then they delegate it to other people. If you in the beginning, you may need to do pretty much everything by yourself, but there comes a certain point you need to delegate it to other people because that's the only way you can scale yourself and grow. When you can do that, you can definitely take your business to the next level. So that's one thing I learned from it. Another mentor of mine that really made a big difference in my life is a guy named Jack Canfield. Some people may know him as the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. He's also the author of the Success Principles, and I'm a certified trainer in the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. He is one of the best success coaches out there. I've learned a lot from him. He taught me things like take 100% responsibility for my life because very few people don't. Everyone likes to blame other people, other circumstances. They like to blame everything and everyone except themselves, but they never look at the part that they play in as to why things don't always work out, why things go wrong. You have to take full responsibility because if you don't, you're not going to take the actions necessary to become successful. If you think the success is due to forces or people outside of you, you're going to say, why bother? Because I have no control over it. When you realize you're fully in control as to how you react to things, that's where you pause and you will take those actions. So that's one of the main things I learned from Jack. Again, he also teaches about getting yourself a map. He teaches about being focused and persistent and many other things. I learned a lot of great things here. And I definitely recommend his book, The Success Principle. It's one of the best books on success out there. So those are just a couple of my mentors. I have a few others, but I could tell you they've all made a big difference in my lives. And you know what? Another thing you could do in the beginning, maybe you cannot afford to get a mentor, but what you could do is you can watch videos of these people. There are people there like Les Brown or Tony Robbins, for example, or Grant Cardone. You can watch their videos on YouTube and learn from them in the meantime, and that will help you in the beginning until you can afford to get yourself a mentor. So you can have video mentors, mentors in books. There might be a success author who writes a lot of good stuff. So you can read their stuff and learn from it. So that'll help you in the beginning until you can afford to get yourself a mentor. So that's something for those who might have a really tough money situation, something for them to consider doing.
Okay, great. So, do you invest in real estate like with the help of Grant Cardone techniques or any courses?
I have it, but that's something I'm looking to do down the road because real estate is something that's very powerful. Many millionaires have been created by real estate. That's something to look. That's something I'm looking to do down the road. For example, you can buy a real estate property and you can pay off your mortgage just by the rent you collect from that real estate property. Also, a lot of people do wholesaling. So there's a lot of different ways to make money in real estate, but it's also a lot of work. It's not as easy as people think it is. A lot of people don't succeed in it for a variety of reasons. Because I have friends in real estate, and I can tell you it's a lot of work. You got to be very focused, and you have to put in the time and the effort because there's a lot of things involved. You got also a lot of patience involved. For your wholesaling, for example, you got to wait for a while for the property to close. There could be all kinds of things going on. The person might want to close, but their attorney says, no, no, don't do it. Yes, so there are all kinds of things that can happen that can stop you. You think you have a deal, and then something happens, and then you might have to wait a few months, or you may need to go to other deals. Also, different states have different laws, so it's easy to do certain deals in certain states and hard in other states in the United States. So, but there's definitely a lot of money in it. But I would just tell people there's also a lot of work involved. But I have friends doing it, and they're very happy and they're very successful in it. But I can also tell you, if you, it really depends. Like with everything, entrepreneurship, you have to put in the time and the effort. A lot of people think, oh, I just become one, I'm going to make $1 million within the first month. It doesn't happen that way. So whether you're doing real estate, or whether you're doing affiliate marketing, network marketing, e-commerce, it takes time and effort. And very often in the beginning, it takes time to build up your business. So you may not see results in the first 2 or 3 months, but if you're patient, it compounds. So maybe after 6 months or a year, you start getting some really good results. So I would just say the important thing is focus on the process. Make sure you're doing things right. You may not see results immediately, but if you're patient, you're doing the right things, you will eventually get those results. So I would just say for the vast majority of people, you're not going to make big money the first couple of months. It's going to take a little bit of time. But if you're patient, man, over 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you can great results. So that's one thing I would caution people, because I think sometimes people come in with a unrealistic attitude. They think I'm going to be a millionaire in my first 3 months, and then when they don't make any money the first month, they say it's a scam, and then they leave and they tell all their friends, don't do it. It didn't work for me. It didn't work because you weren't patient. You didn't have the proper guidance, and you just gave up too quickly.
Yes, yes, you are right. People are impatient due to social media. So, like, they get everything so fast, like any meals they get. So everybody is becoming impatient. That might
Mhm.
be
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, it's that everyone wants everything to happen yesterday because it's that instant gratification with technology. I mean, we get the news every second, and everything's happening, instantaneously. Whereas, 100 years ago, for example, most societies were farming societies. So a farmer knew you had to plant, harvest, plant, cultivate, and harvest. If you plant, cultivation could take 3 to 6 months, so it would take maybe 6 months before you get your harvest. Now people just want to plant and harvest the next day. It doesn't work that way. You got to cultivate. You got to take that time to take that action. A great story I learned from Les Brown was the story of the bamboo tree. Now, the way the bamboo tree works is that a person is watering and nourishing the bamboo tree. It's growing underground, but it's underground for like maybe 4 to 5 years, and there's no growth there. It seems like nothing is happening. But in the fifth year, in the span of a couple of months, the bamboo tree grows 90 feet in the air. Did it take 2 months for that bamboo tree to go 90 feet? No, it took 5 years, but it had to be watered and nurtured. It had to be taken care of and had to be worked on constantly. That's why it grew to be 90 feet. And it took some time. A lot of people would have given up after a few months, but the people who water and nurtured saw the growth of 90 feet. And that's what can happen to your business. You may not see great growth in the beginning, but if you water and nurture your business and you work kind of consistently, down the road, you can get great growth if you're patient and don't give up.
Right. Okay. How can anyone earn like $500, $1,000 in a month with instant money with any online skills? Would you recommend anyone?
I mean, it's some of people to reach out. There are a lot of people you can reach out to. So it really depends on what do you want to do. Do you want to do affiliate marketing? Do you want to do e-commerce? Do you want to do network marketing? Do you want to do real estate? There are many different ways to make money. What I recommend you do is in the beginning, whatever you choose, focus on one thing. A lot of people they hear multiple streams of income, and yes, that works. But in the beginning, if you try to do 5 businesses at once, you will succeed in none of them. You will lose money in all of them, and instead of having multiple streams of income, you're going to have multiple streams of debt. So, for example, network marketing. A person will join a network marketing company. And then 2 or 3 other companies come calling, and those opportunities all sound good. They're all good opportunities. And this person finds himself in 4 network marketing companies. But what happens is you're overwhelmed. There's analysis by paralysis. You don't know which opportunity to work on. You're overwhelmed. And you know what? You don't work in any of them because there's so much work to do. So that's why if you're doing network marketing, for example, I would say focus on one network marketing company. If you're going to do e-commerce, I would just say focus on one thing, whether it's Shopify, Amazon, eBay, whatever. And whatever you do that one business, be successful at it, and then you can add a second stream. Now, you might hear some guys like Tony Robbins, he has 24 companies or something like that. I can tell you right now, Tony Robbins is not spending all day looking at all 24 of those companies. He's not managing all 20. He's delegating it to a bunch of other people to manage those companies for him. And then he might look at weekly reports or bi-weekly reports or monthly reports, seeing how his company is doing. But he's not actively managing all of those companies. And other people who have like 10, 20 companies, I could say they're not actively managing those companies every single day. They're delegating to other people. That's how you can have multiple streams. You cannot work 20 businesses at once by yourself. It is impossible because there are only 24 hours in the day. But that's what you want to ultimately do. But again, when you start off, focus on one business at a time, master it, make money on it. Then you can add a second stream. If you want to add more, and then you'll probably get to the point where you're able to get yourself some VAs and other people that can help you scale your business. That's how you get multiple streams of income in the long run. So I'm not going to give you any names. I would just say do your research. You can look up any people on Google. So it depends on the business you want. You can look it up. There's a lot of people on Facebook and other social media, and then you can decide what are you doing: real estate, e-commerce, affiliate marketing network, whatever business you want. You can look at the people that are doing well, and then you do research on it, and then you might have some friends who know about these people. So if you have friends in real estate, you might want to say, who's a good real estate person to work with, and they can give recommendations. So that's what I would do. I'm not going to recommend anything because there's so many of them. I feel if I mention 2 or 3, I might leave some others out, and I think it's fair. I think just do your research. There's a lot of information out there.
Great. What are the top 3 reasons why do people fail?
Why do people fail? So I'm just going to talk about why they fail in entrepreneurship. Number one, what I mentioned before, they don't take 100% responsibility, which means they don't take the action. They don't become solution oriented. They think everything is outside of them. That's number one. Number 2, they're not focused. They try to do too many things at once. They'll try to do several things at once. And here's the thing: a lot of people think multitasking is effective. It's not. Studies show again and again you're far less productive when you multitask because your mind cannot multitask, cannot do several things at once. What you're actually doing is you're switching back and forth between the tasks. You think you're doing several tasks at once, but you're not really not. You're going back and forth. So you lose that momentum and you're not as productive. The most productive way to be is to do one task at a time. And if you're going to do 3 tasks, do the first task, finish it, do the second task, finish it, and do the third task. Be focused on it. I'll give you a couple examples right now. If you take a magnifying glass and you put it on paper and you have the sun going through it, if you keep moving the glass, you got to be focused. If you keep moving the glass, it won't burn a hole. But if you leave it in one spot, the sun will eventually burn a hole on the paper. Now, I'm going to give you another example as to why multitasking doesn't work. So let's just say the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Say it fast. Everyone can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now say the letters A, B, C, all the way up to J. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E, F, G, H, I, J. Now try saying it together. A1, B2, C3, D4. You can't say it as fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now I'm saying A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6. It takes longer because you can't say it quickly because you're going back and forth between the two. That is what is happening when you try to multitask. You're going back and forth. If you notice, it's slower. So work on one task at a time. Work on one business at a time, then add one later on. Don't try to do 4 businesses at once because you will not be successful at it. So focus is very important. A lot of people are not focused. They're all over the place. They're not consistent. Consistency is extremely important. Some people work hard on their business for 3 or 4 days. and then slack off for 4 or 5 days. They lose that consistency. There's no compound effect. If I want to have big muscles, I can't go to the gym, work out 3 days, and then take off for 2 weeks. I got to go several times a week, consistently over the course of many weeks and months, and then I'll get the big muscles. If I want to lose weight and get healthy, I got to eat a better diet, less processed foods, less junk food, less sugar, do my exercising. I got to be consistent with it. It's why the tortoise beat the hare. The tortoise was more consistent, even though the hare was faster. The tortoise was consistent, which is why he beat the hare. He was more consistent. Consistency is extremely important, and you got to get yourself a mentor. And a huge thing is personal development and mindset. A lot of people know what to do, but they don't take the action. As I mentioned, losing weight. Everyone knows what to do to lose weight. Again, eat the better diet, less calories, less junk, and exercise. But they don't do it, even though they want to lose the weight. Why? Because it's a mindset issue, the things between your ears. A lot of people have a very negative mindset. Very often goes back to what they learned when they were young children. They were hit with a lot of negative stuff, a lot of negative messaging. So you got to change your mindset. You got to work on your personal development, and you got to surround yourself with positive people, limit yourself with negative people, and surround, especially if you can surround yourself with successful people. Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 person you spend the most time with. So look at the people you're spending the most time with. Are they helping you or are they bringing you down? If they're bringing you down, you may need to get a new group of friends. So you really need to surround yourself with successful people. So those are some of the reasons why I think people don't fail. People don't succeed. It's because of the things I just mentioned. And you're not persistent. You got to be persistent. Again, during tough time, everyone's going to have obstacles. You're going to have adversity. It's never going to be smooth sailing. Things seem to be going well for 2 or 3 months. Then something happens that comes out of nowhere, and you got to handle the adversity. But if you can overcome the adversity, you will become a stronger person. You will become more successful. But they're going to be things that will pop out of nowhere. And you're like saying, why is this happening to me? It's often to teach you a lesson. It's not pleasant for most people, but if you can overcome it, you'll become a stronger person. You know what? And when you're coaching other people, you could tell them, it's okay. I understand where you're going because I went through it myself and I overcame it. And I can tell you, you can overcome it too because I overcame it. So it's a teaching thing for yourself. It's also a teaching thing for other people you may work with and coach as well. So if you can overcome these adversities, you can also teach you. So don't expect smooth sailing. It's not going to happen, but it can make you a stronger person.
Okay. So what motivates you within?
What motivates me is number one, I don't want to go back to the corporate world. I really enjoy working for myself. I enjoy the flexibility I have. I like the fact that I can make a difference in a lot of people's lives. I love getting a text message or an email or a message on Facebook saying, hey, even people who I don't even work with, sometimes people, they'll see my posts, my videos, they'll say, you know what, I was very discouraged. I was thinking about giving up, but reading your posts, they're very motivational, they're very positive. They encourage me to continue going. And because of that, I'm more successful now. So I want you to know, I appreciate all that you've done. And I'm like, wow, that's great. I never knew that, but they tell me all the things that I've done has really motivated them. So when you get something like that, it really makes you feel good, knowing that you contributed to someone making their lives better. And I think that's one definition of success. If you make one person's life better, you are a success.
Okay. So what's your company motto?
My motto is, listen, I think what I just said there is my motto is, my motto is number one, make people's lives better. If you are doing that, you are a success. And the other thing is, my other motto is, don't compete with anyone else. Compete only with yourself. As long as you're better than you were yesterday, than you were last week, than you were last month, if you're doing that, you're doing well, you are a success. Another reason people get into trouble is because they're trying to compare themselves with other people. If I try to compare myself to Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, I'm not gonna win. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna like say, these guys are worth, or Elon Musk. These guys were what, $100 billion. But if I say to myself, am I better than I was last week? Am I better than I was a month ago? And the answer is yes, then I'll feel happy about myself. So only compare yourself to who you were last week or last month. Avoid comparisons to other people. Only compare yourself to who you were before. And as long as you're getting better, you're improving, you're making those adjustments, you're getting better each week, each month. As long as you're doing that, you're on the right path. So focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on becoming better. And that's all you need to worry about. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be happy, you're going to be successful, and your life's going to be better. So again, focus on making yourself better. Don't worry about anyone else. Let them worry about themselves.
Okay. Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is anyone that wants to make their lives better, whether they want to become better health-wise, financially, mindset-wise, personal development. I can help them all those different categories. If someone wants more for their lives, for their families, they want more time freedom, for example, they maybe want to go vacation. Uh, they just want to do things they're not capable of doing right now because they're limited because of the situation that they're in. Maybe they're not healthy as they want to be, or maybe they don't have the money that they want right now, or maybe they're making good money, but they're working 80 hours a week and they never see their family. So, those are the kind of people that can reach out to me, because then, we can work on something and, see how we can make their lives better, what kind of plans we can come up with for those people.
Okay, great. So, what are you grateful for today?
What I'm grateful for is several things. Number one, I'm grateful for the entrepreneurial life I have. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the fact that God's given me a lot of friends who have been very good to me. Again, blessed, I feel blessed because of my family, my friends. I'm thankful for God for giving me this life and for keeping me alive, and for just always being there for me. So I'm grateful for God mostly because he's always been there for me. He got me through that time when I was 12 years old. I was hit by the car, so he kept me alive for a reason. So, and I'm sure he has more things that he wants me to do. So he's blessed. We all have things that that don't always go right, but there are a lot. I'm glad you asked me about what I'm grateful for. Too often people focus on what they don't have instead of what they do have, and if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, focus on the things that you have. Be grateful for things and take some time, have an attitude of gratitude, and focus on those things that you have. So, I have a roof over my head. I have food to eat. Many people around the world don't have that. A lot of people are starving. A lot of people don't have money. They're struggling, making only a few dollars a day. So I'm much better off than the vast majority of people in the world. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have utilities. I have a computer. I have a TV. I have stereo. I have all these things. I have a cell phone. So I'm very grateful for the fact that I have carpeting. I have toilets at work. I have running water. A lot of people around the world don't have that. So when you focus on all those things, you're grateful for them, your attitude changes, and you know what? You will become a better person. You'll become a more successful person because you focus on what you have instead of what you don't have. Everything changes. You got to have an attitude of gratitude. Your attitude will determine your altitude.
How young are you? How young are you?
I'm younger than I am 52.
You are not 52-year young. You are 18-year young with 34-year experience.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So how can we support you?
Well, listen, I'm here to support people. So for those that want to, reach out to me, just feel free to reach out to me. We're on Facebook or LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a message, say hello. If any way I can help you, you want to, learn anything about being an entrepreneur, how to become an entrepreneur. If you want to learn anything about mindset, personal development, how to get healthy. So any of those things, feel free to reach out to me. So I love interacting with people. That's one of the things I love about this business. I love talking to people. You know what? It makes me feel good, and I just feed off the energy of other people. So I love talking to people. Feel free to reach out to me. And I would just say not just to reach out to me. If there's a successful person you've always looked up to, you want to reach out to them to ask for help. don't be afraid to ask them for help. You'd be surprised. A lot of them are willing to talk to you. Just say, "Can I have an hour of your time? I'd like to hear your story, but how you became the successful person you are." You will find a lot of those people are willing to share their story with you because a lot of people don't ask them. So you can reach out to me, or feel free to reach out to some successful person you look up to.
Okay, great. So, what would you like to say about your guest experience on this show?
On this tonight,
Yes.
it's been a real pleasure and an honor being here with you, Nishant. I had a great time with you. It's a really great time interacting with you. I loved you have some really great questions here, and I thought it was a great conversation. And hopefully, I was able to share some value that the audience found helpful. And you're a pleasant podcast host. And it was a nice, friendly interview, and I really enjoyed our time together. So I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. It was a real pleasure being here.
Okay, my pleasure. What's your final word?
My final word to everyone is believe in yourself. Don't give up. There's a lot of great opportunities out there. You are capable of doing a lot more than you realize. It's just a lot of people have limited beliefs, but you're all capable of doing so much more. So don't give up. Try to achieve more. And if you want to become an entrepreneur or in any profession, you can become successful. The thing is, the only person that can stop you is you yourself. If you truly believe it, are you willing to take the action, are persistent and consistent, and don't give up, you can achieve your goals. You got to believe in yourself, take the action, be consistent, and don't give up, and take 100% responsibility. Remember, a lot of these people that we look up to, these millionaires and billionaires, well, many of them were at one time at the level that most of us are. They grew up, a lot of them did not grow up billionaires and billionaires. They grew up, middle class, poor, but they took action, they believed in themselves, and they went straight to the top. If they can do it, you can do it too.
Thanks, Victor, for sharing your wisdom with us. On the behalf of our community and team, we really appreciate you. Until the next time, all good wishes to you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, Nishant.
Okay, same to you.